Hello and good morning, friends. Welcome to the CEC-UGC live lecture. Dear friends, with our ongoing series on PR as skill, I would like to tell you all that this is the second session on PR, that is public relations. By definition, public relation is a planned, deliberate and sustained effort to establish relationship between the organization and its public. Dear friends, we would not go with mere definition. In order to know the public relations as a whole, it is important to know every and each fact, I would say. So dear friends, for you, we used to conduct such sessions for you so that it becomes easier for you to get in-depth knowledge. So to cater to your needs, once again we are here with you to cater to your needs on public relations. Dear friends, public relations in the present scenario has grown as a skill. Everybody, everywhere, whether in a professional life, in a social life or in a personal life, is using public relation. But to understand public relation in a broader perspective, we believe that we need to look at each and every fact. So dear friends, in a previous session, we talked about what PR is. In today's session, we would be discussing on the various facts regarding the public relations. We are going to understand how, where we can gather the facts, the important facts which are essential in public relations, as well as we would be discussing on different types of publics. You might be wondering and you might be curious, what are different types of publics? When we talk about public relations, then it becomes mandatory to know about the publics, as well as we would be discussing on what is media and what is the role of media in public relations. So dear friends, to answer all these questions, we have once again in our studios Mrs. Nirmal Bhatnagar. Mrs. Nirmal Bhatnagar is a consultant and an advisor to various institutions, as well as she is a soft skills trainer. Through these EduSet lectures, she interacts with you so that you would become a better individual, a good citizen. So without wasting any time, I would like to welcome our guest, Mrs. Nirmal Bhatnagar, under whose able guidance we would be learning on PR as a skill. So without wasting any time, once again, I would like to welcome our guest. Hello ma'am, welcome to the EduSet lecture.
Today we are going to talk about the second part of PR. We have been giving you a general introduction to PR, what PR is, and why PR flows into all professions and all lives without our knowing it. But when we study PR as a course, when we want to study PR as a methodology, then we must know what is exactly the inputs in PR so that we understand the terminology, the phrases used, and where do we get these informations. The first thing that I told you the other day, that PR rotates around 5 golden principles. These are 5 principles. The first was facts. Now, facts in PR are the information. Why we call information facts in PR is because information that we have in PR is no gossip, no falsification, nothing that is untrue, but these we call facts because this is hardcore truth. PR is based on truth, and if we do not have truth with us about things, we are not able to build PR at all. So the first thing is finding facts. And facts, as I tell you, are the true factuals that we collect about a person, about a place, about an organization, about anything to go further to learn what PR is or to start practicing or trying to go and reach the objective that we have been given to fulfill our PR aims. So the facts in PR are the information. Now, to gather information, sometimes we say, where do we get this information? How do we get this information? Now, this where and how I'm going to solve with you today. The first thing is that information is not always that you have to go and hunt into books or into libraries. Of course, they are part of it, but information can be had from several sources. The first source is listening. You listen to people There are groups talking on the roadside. There are people talking in the boardrooms. There are people talking in seminars. You listen to them and you pick up your facts out of them. What exactly have they said? What are the database they are giving? What exactly are they saying? We learn a lot by listening. The second after the listening comes the interaction. If we listen, then we interact. There are a number of things I listen, but I don't understand. I just listen and I take it for granted. Yes, it is like this. No. For a peer person, the second point becomes is interaction. You should be good at interacting, going on asking questions, unless you are satisfied that the required information is correct and totally understood by you. So first thing we said was listening. Second thing we said was interacting. And third thing that we come across as a source of information is that reading, that we read ourselves. Read where? 100 places where we can read. There are books, there are magazines, there are newspapers. Apart from that, there are ancient books which have been written by scholars like Ramayana. There are Veds, there are so many other granths that you pick up and you find information loaded into them. So this leads to the fact that reading becomes an essential part in the PR for gathering your facts. If you are not a good reader, if you're not a good listener, if you're not a good interactive person, you cannot think of this profession at all. So reading is information gathering. And for reading, we require places like libraries, we require places like bookshops. You should learn to interact into books, go deep into reading anything. Now in PR, we do not limit ourselves to reading only one subject. In PR, a PR person should have all sorts of information. More information, better you can build up your PR. And for better information, you not only read the specific things, but you even read anything and everything that comes across. Even a pamphlet which is thrown at you in the public is important that you glance through it. Then reading about a scandal, reading about a cinema, reading about a new film, a good story, a writer, a person, a philosophy. So basically a PR has to be a very knowledgeable person who should not only gather knowledge by listening and interacting, but also more knowledge by reading. Reading is becoming very, very easy now because of the new concept of computers in India. Computers are picking up in India very much, and of course world over they are there. But in Indian concept, we find that the computers have become the main source of information. And people have been so clever to put the information heading wise into each column. So whatever information you require, whatever subject information you require, you just have to click on the computer and you get the information. All you have to do is read it, grasp it, understand it, and out of the whole reading points, pick up your own relevant points and jot them together. You will be surprised that reading becomes so important in public relations that even when we are traveling or we are going out for a mission or somewhere, there are trucks going ahead of you, there are sometimes auto rickshaws going ahead of you, and they have some write-ups behind them. Lovely write-ups they are. Sometimes you laugh at them, sometimes you think about it, and sometimes you feel what funny way of writing things. You go around and you see a ready wala written, best chole bhature from such and such place. Now these little slogans, everything. So a person who needs to develop facts in PR must be in a habit of reading anything and everything that comes across your eyes. You read because some of it will remain in your mind, and when you interact, when you communicate, they will be easily available and will be handy at you. So till now I've told you 3 ways. First is listening, second is interacting, and third is reading. Then comes the fourth methodology of gathering facts, that is called observation. A PR person has to be very observant. You observe the behavior of the people, you observe the expressions of the people, you observe interactions of the people, you observe the habits of the people. You see something happening and you just observe and try to analyze what exactly is happening. Now, these are the things which take you into more facts. So, see, all the time a PR person is gathering facts, facts and facts. Facts is information. Then we have other sources like traveling. When we travel, when we visit places, we get first-hand information. You might have read somewhere that there is a very beautiful tourist spot somewhere in Himalayas. You have read about it, you've got your information, but when you exactly travel to that place, you gather more facts, you know much more about that place. So the next step we say, a very good way of gathering information or developing facts is traveling. So a PR person must travel, and during the travel, the person finds facts and takes them right here in his mind or jot them down and maintains those facts. Then we come down to the next point, that is called socializing. What is socializing? Socializing is that a person should learn to mix with all types of groups. It's not that you have a small little group of friends or relatives or your house or your college people and you decide only to intermix with them. No, a PR person, in order to gather his facts, has to socialize, go to unknown parties. If you're invited to a wedding, you're invited to a social get-together, if you're invited to a discourse by someone or a seminar or a get-together, maybe you don't know people there, but if you are to be there, because everything that we do in the social field gives us extra knowledge, because we get to know new people, we get to know new habits, we get to know what exactly are they talking about and what are their habits. So socializing is something which is very important. There are people who remain mum all their life, in the sense they are traveling miles and miles. They come across so many new people. They pause at a place to have a cup of tea, or they stop somewhere to talk to the coolie, but they never try to interact. Now, even if you are traveling and you are sitting for a cup of tea with something, you can talk about something. क्यों भैया क्या हो रहा है, चाय कैसे बनाते हो, क्या करते हो? Like a PR person is always a curious person. He is not only observing, he has curiosity to know more and more about various things. Maybe they are relevant or irrelevant, because this gives knowledge and more factual khazana to the PR people. So I said observe, be curious, ask questions, learn. Then we come down to gathering facts from ancient traditional things. What are these ancient traditional things? They could be Mahabharata, they could be Ramayana. You see that every Christmas people celebrate, have a Christmas tree. On Eid, why do they have Bakra Eid and why do they have a Semaiya Meethi Eid? What is the story behind it? You must find out. You go to an ancient temple, go to an ancient town, see some stones there, see some sort of structure there. Everything gives you facts. And PR is a person who gathers these facts by observation, by interaction, by curiosity, by finding out, reading books, getting a little pamphlet about a temple and reading what are the stories behind. Because a PR man has to be a very good communicator and use these facts at various places. Now, why do we need so many facts? You need so many facts because you are a person who will be mixing with different type of groups. And for different types of groups, in order to be acceptable in those groups, you need to be able to talk on any possible subject and go down to the habits of that person if you want that person to interact with you properly. If you behave something different from the group you are into, the group will not or never will open out to you. You'll never be able to mix with that group. So fact gathering is something which is very important in public relations. So the first and foremost thing that I talked about today is that PR is based on facts. And facts means truth, not falsehood. Falsehood is something which cannot be called facts. You know, if you see the dictionary meaning of facts, facts are the hardcore truth. So I can come down to a very, very important statement here that facts are the what you call base of PR. They are like what you call नींव, जिन्हें हम क्या बोलते हैं? In English we call them the basis on which the building stands. So the stronger are your facts, better PR you can build, or better PR man you could be. So the first thing is, even if you're appointed for a job of PR with someone, don't think that first day you become very active and say, oh, I'm an excellent PR, I can do it. No. The very first task is to gather facts, gather information by various methodologies that I've told you, by observing, by interacting, by listening, by being curious, by visiting, by traveling. If you're working for a company, travel to the factories, see how the production is going on, see what all do they produce, where is their market, what do they sell, how do they, what are the plus points and minus points, what are the best things that you can talk about this company, and what are the weaker issues of this company. More information you have, better PR you can build for them, or better strategy you can build for them. So the first thing in PR is facts. Now that you've gathered your facts, you've got all the facts with you, and you think, I've learned enough. I would again bring you back to a point that learning is never what you call finished. You cannot say that I know everything. World is moving, the society is moving, the companies are moving, the organizations are moving, and with this movement, your facts become obsolete. You have to go on and on gathering your facts. So the fact finding is something in PR which is a continuous process. You go on adding more and more information to your facts, more and more information you gather, and better informed person you are, better PR person you can be in life. Now that you've got facts in your hand and you've learned the habit of gathering facts, how do we go about the next? The next is that you can't go on shouting out your facts to anybody and everybody. No. You have to find out what is public in PR. Now, public, the word public, as we all understand, common man understands, is a big gathering, a crowd. We say, बहुत public थी भाई उसकी meeting में. Public ने तो ये कहा, public ने तो वो कहा. You must have seen on various medium public word being used very often. But in PR, public is something different. Public is target audience. The word is target audience. We make circles of audience. We call them target. For this thing, my target audience is this. For these facts, my target audience are these. For the third thing, my target audience are this. So, public in PR is target audience. It's not a crowd. It's not anybody, everybody. Suppose I am dealing with a steel company, or you're appointed for a steel company as a PR. Your target audience could be the marketing people who are marketing steel. Your target audience could be the dealers. Your target audience could be the media, that is the newspaper world. Your target audience would be the people with whom that company is dealing. So we have to earmark our target audience for any public relations exercise that we do. So public word is target audience in PR. Now, target audience also we divide into two areas. One is called internal public and the second one is called external public. Internal public are those people who are with us on day-to-day basis, paid organization, may paid employees, or those we deal with on day-to-day basis. Like at your home, you can say your internal public are your own people who live in the house. Your internal public are the maids who come in every day and every out. They could be the milkman, they could be somebody else who's using you, with whom you interact day-to-day basis. External public are those people with whom you don't deal on daily basis, but yes, you like your bankers, like a shopkeeper, like somebody in a group, your relations who you come across in functions. They could be, in case of organizations, they could be your visitors who come to you. They could be anybody who we do not deal with on day-to-day basis. Now, these are all your audience. So the first important audience that we have are internal public. Why internal public is considered to be your best audience? Because unless you are able to impress your internal public, your internal audience, you will never be able to impress your external audience. After all, for external audience, we give advertisements, we go to outside, we give lectures, we talk, we try to impress them occasionally. Whereas internal public, we have to deal with on day-to-day basis. If we have a satisfied internal public, they will become your PR representatives. Because then every time somebody talks to them, they will say, oh, hamara to ye bahut acha hai. Like you must have seen in a good company, the internal public, the employees, you talk to them about their company, they'll always say, oh, we get tea, we do this, company looks after us very well, they're very well dressed, they look very smart, they're very satisfied. What are they trying to do? They are doing PR for the company by making you understand. They are going on enhancing the circle of people who speak good about it. Whereas, if you deal badly with them, if internal public is not satisfied public, then they will say, अरे यार ये तो सब यूं ही झूठ बोलते हैं, हमारे घर में तो रोज लड़ाई होती है. Take the case of a household. I'll again bring you back to your day-to-day life to give you an example. Suppose in a house we have 4 families living together, all brothers and all sisters. It's a joint family household. And everybody feels, oh, they all live with lot of love, lot of understanding. This house is an ideal house, everybody, ideal family. That is the image you have outside. One day, one of your internal public, maybe your maid, maybe your dhobi, maybe your own cousin or your son of the house, stands with the neighbors or is talking to a group and says, क्या यार रोज ही झगड़े होते हैं घर में, हमारे घर में तो everybody is fighting about one little sentence. Unsatisfied public will send 20 people talking. Every time somebody else talks about your house as a good house, the person will say, अरे I have information from internal sources. ये तो दिखावा है, अंदर से तो they all fighting with each other. That house is not ideal at all. So the image goes bad all over. So the first charge of a PR is to look into internal public. That is, each and every employee of the company, each and every employee or every member of the house should be totally satisfied, should be able to speak good about the company or about the house or about the place. That means the first job is that with the help of your facts, you look into your target audience who are your internal public. And as internal public, you should turn into satisfied public. Give them more information so that they are able to send that information out wherever they talk. Because each and every person has his own social circle. And they should be able to talk good in that social circle about your company. That is, you are spreading by word of mouth the facts which you could not spread even if you put crores worth of advertisements in the newspapers or in the media at all. Advertisements are supports, but internal public is your representatives who will take your message to the public, and they are much more believed than anything that you put as a publicity material. Then we come down to external public. I'm not trying to tell you that internal public is important. It is very important, and the first attention goes to internal public. But the external public also needs attention. Now, external public is your behaviors with them, how much you can share with them. Like you have an accountant, somebody comes from outside to pick up the payments, and the accountant doesn't speak to that person properly, and he says, Kalana, Parswana, abhi ye nahi hua, abhi wo nahi hua. What is he trying to do? He is creating a wrong impression into the external public's mind, who will go out and say, my God, that company gives so much of trouble for releasing one small payment. Similarly, if your peon at the doorstep behaves badly with a person who walks in, is not courteous enough, who doesn't know how to talk, you ask him something as an external public and he says, mujhe nahi pata, wahan chale jao, wahan chale jao. Now what happens? You said, what badtameez organization. They don't even have somebody, receptionist. They are all the people. That means everybody who's an internal public is making an impression on the external public. So internal public needs to have a very good training, needs to be given proper information, looked after in PR. So that is what is the importance of public. Public is very important in PR. We can broadly divide it into two parts, internal and external. Internal public is our first and foremost charge. We must make them know everything. Now, it's very, very important that they are part of you. You don't hide things from them. If I'm working for an organization and my organization is trying to what you call develop a new machine or a new innovation or something, and it's all over the newspapers, and I as an internal public do not know about it, and somebody tells me आपके organization में तो ये नई machine आ रही है, I feel very bad कि लो मुझे तो पता नहीं, इनको पता। आपके घर में एक पार्टी है और आपको नहीं मालूम है, और पड़ोस का कोई कहेगा अरे परसों तो तुम्हारे घर में पार्टी है, हमें बुलाया है। यू विल फील वेरी बैड अबाउट इट एंड यू से क्या है, मैं तो कुछ हूँ ही नहीं यहाँ पर, आई एम नोबडी। सो internal and external public understanding is absolutely necessary in PR. So first I told you, gather your facts, then look into public. Public in PR is a target audience, and target audience means that you divide your target audience into two areas. One is internal, one is external. And how do we deal with them? We have to have different strategies. Sharing information is very, very important. Now, we know two areas of PR. I've told you facts, I've told you public. Now, the third thing in PR, to join the two together, facts are here, public is here. How do I join them together? I require media. Media is not what we hear every day, अखबार वाला मीडिया या टेलीविजन का मीडिया, journalist media. No. Media is all methodologies which can connect information to my target audience. So in PR, media is a much broader terminology. We have to check up what are the methods I can use to take my facts to my public. So we can call them, media are the vehicles. They are the vehicles on which we carry our message to our target audience. So now it is very important to learn what are the methodologies. Number one, the basic methodology, which is the cheapest, which is very, very important. We all know it, is called oral. When we talk, interact with anybody, I can tell you मेरा ये काम है, मेरे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में ये होता है, मैं बातचीत करके जब जाती हूँ, that is called oral methodologies, कि मैं अपने मुंह से बोल के ओरल बात करके आपको समझा देती हूँ कि देखो भाई मेरे यहाँ ये है, ये है, ये है, मैं अपनी लड़की की तुमसे शादी करना चाहता हूँ, मेरी लड़की की ये क्वालिटी है, ये क्वालिटी है, ये क्वालिटी. Oral interaction. Similarly, in organizations, we call the employees together, have a meeting, and we tell them, देखो भैया इस डिपार्टमेंट में ये काम होता है, ये काम होता है, हम लोग ये करते हैं, आपको अच्छा सजेशन देना चाहते हैं. That's called interactive oral methodology. This is one of the best methodologies, does not require any supports. You don't need a paper pencil, you have your tongue, you have your mouth. Only is that you should be able to have a good communicative knowledge. Well, this methodology is not possible. It was very common in the ancient times, even now it is very common when the audience is small, very small, because we have limitation of voice, we have limitation of area, geographical limitations, we cannot have oral talking all the time. So the next methodology is, I can't have 20 people or 40 people or maybe hundreds of people with my voice or interact with them, not possible. So what do? Then the next methodology is a written methodology, when we write and pass the message to anybody. Now this is when we have a very big advantage that we can reproduce thousands of copies, we can write, and a person can read it 20 times, 40 times to understand the message. If I have to give a message to my employees and they are spread in 20 places, I can send a circular letter or I can write a note and send it to my employees, and they are spread in various places. They all get the letter. If they are not in a mood to read it, now they'll read it later. If they don't understand it at first reading, they can read it 20 times, 40 times. The text won't change, the message won't change. Well, this is what happens in oral, that we don't repeat what we say once. So oral we can mislead also, but in written there is no misleading at all. So most of the places the message is now written message. When we want to convey something in the offices, when we want to convey something to our people who are in numbers, we send a written note, a circular, or put it on the notice board कि भाई ये लिखा है, सब लोग समझ लो, पढ़ लो, कल से ये काम होने वाला है. Now in written methodology, and the only thing is we find it little expensive. You need a lot of supports. You need a pen, you need a pencil, you need a paper. It requires more time, it's time consuming. And apart from that, the worst part about written methodology is that it is not feasible in an uneducated society at all. When the society is uneducated, they cannot read or write, no written messages work at all. You have to support it by oral. You have to read it out to them, you have to make them understand. That means you have to fall back to your first category, that is called oral category. Well, fine. The third methodology we use is visual methodology. We show things to the people, make them understand. Suppose I say banana and I show them an apple. They will only understand banana as an apple. So visual is very important. When we visibly show people through our expressions, we use my hands like I'm using my eyes, my facial expressions. Maybe you show your anger, your acceptance, anything. When visually we show something and say, this is a shirt, this is what you have to do, this is the cabin in which you have to sit, this is your place, this is an AC, this is how you have to operate it, then it is called visual methodology. I'm using a visual methodology to make my point or my information reach my target audience. Then apart from visual, now with the moving society, there is always a need to have better understanding. We develop something called, what you call, audio-visual. And a great example is what we are looking at now, the television, the cinema. You can hear, you can see, you can, understand. Suppose I was to tell you that there was an accident, railway accident, and I'm speaking only on oral way on radio. You can, hundreds of people will visualize that accident in different perspective. But on a TV, which is called audio-visual medium, you see the accident, you don't have to construe in your mind some different pictures. You know what has happened, and you're hearing also about it. Hearing, we are using two senses, the eyes as well as the ears, so we can understand it much better. So a very, very powerful medium which has taken over the world today is audio-visual medium, which you see there are smaller screens, there are bigger screens. Now the screens have come into your watches, into small little portable places also. There are TVs, there are cameras which are portable, you can see everything. So audiovisual has picked over the world. One of the very powerful medium to reach your message to your people. Now, this medium has only one big disadvantage, and that disadvantage is that this is a very expensive medium. You require so many things. You require a studio, you require camera, you require posing up, you require atmosphere to show something, which is not there in radio or oral or observer, other methodologies. But this is one of the best methods. Then we can write, we can do so many things to reach. Methods are unlimited. The only objective that I'm trying to tell you here is that in PR, my facts should be under my control, and I should be able to choose which particular two facts I have to give to my audience. And then I pick and choose my methodology. There are no walls to methods. I can't say these are the only methods you should use. The 101 methods you can use. You can invent a new method to reach your audience, to tell your audience what you want to make them understand. So PR is something in which walls are broken all the time. The basic objective is facts need to go to the target audience. And for that joining, the medium is flexible. Medium is your brain work, your understanding. What my audience are, where my audience are. Should I take my message to this place or that place? Where will I get the maximum acceptance? That is your PR's understanding. So PR's knowledge is not only limited to the facts. His knowledge has to be also going towards his audience. He should have a proper study of his audience. Is my audience reading Manorama? Or is my audience reading Reader Digest? Is my audience reading English paper or a local paper? Is my audience going to the club? Or is my audience standing at coffee shop at Connaught Place somewhere or at a roadside shop? I have to know the habits, the style of my audience, and then use the facts accordingly. If I know these things together, then I can assure you, in public relations world, a successful PR is a person who first gathers the facts, controls the facts, goes on adding to his facts day by day, and then he knows his audience, he knows the Janampatri of the audience. If I was not being very, very crude on it, yes, he should know the nerves of the audience, and then he should join them together, take his facts to the right audience with the help of the medium that at his disposal. Now, three parts are over. We've got the facts, we've got the audience, we've got the medium to join them together. Now, how do I know that what I have told my audience has registered here in the mind the way I want them to know it? Have they really gathered, or they're just shaking their heads like this? And I'm very sure, arey bhai, I have used the right method for my right audience, and I'm sure they've got it. No. In PR world, the fourth basic factor that we need is feedback. I must get a feedback. I must know, even if I'm telephoning someone, bhai aaj 5 baje mujhe इस कॉफ़ी हाउस में एक कप कॉफ़ी के लिए मिलना, तुमसे बात करनी है. Now I have to reconfirm. So I said, हाँ भाई कहाँ 5 बजे आ जाना ना, समझ गए ना 5 बजे. अगला जब बोलेगा हाँ भाई मैं 5 बजे वहां पहुंच जाऊंगा, that is my feedback, he is understood. Or my feedback is when I go to the coffee house, the person is right there at 5 o'clock. That means yes, my method was right, my facts were right, he's got me right. But if the person does not reach there at 5 o'clock, or if he has not understood me, or something goes wrong, that means my method of explaining was not right. Maybe the telephone message was not correct. I should have sent him a written message, or maybe I should have spoken to him by some other method, or maybe I should have sent somebody to his house to tell him कि 5 बजे आज यहाँ पर मीटिंग है, आपको आना है. That means my method was wrong. So I have to find out a new method to reach my audience. So feedback in public relations plays a fourth important fiddle, which is a very, very important fiddle. And how do we get feedback? Feedback gathering can be opinion polls. Feedback gathering can be by research. Feedback can be by one-to-one countering a person. There can be hundreds of methods of getting a feedback. Feedback is when you put an advertisement or a new product in the market, advertise it, tell about it to people, and you find the sales going up, or people getting aware of that product. They start asking, भाई आपके पास ये product है, तो इसका मतलब है कि हमने right audience को right methodology से right factuals भेज दिए, और feedback में हमें पता लगा कि उन्होंने ये accept कर लिए. पर अगर हमें देखा कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा, तो कहीं तो हमारी गलती हो गई. Either we have not been able to convey our facts properly, or we are not able to know our facts, we are lacking somewhere, or some medium we have used is wrong, or the public we have used is wrong. My public was in the university, I should have publicized or sent my facts to university, but I've sent them to an area where the public, my audience do not come, like I've sent it around a club area or Southex where the students do not come. So please remember, it's not only facts, it's public nerve, then knowledge of medium. If I know only of one medium, that is oral medium, I will never be able to utilize the other mediums. So the moment the new media come into the market, I as a PR person should know all the facts about it. Like you have seen at the present moment, the new medium is social media. People go on Wikipedias, people go on Wi-Fi's, people go on SMS, people go, and number of people are using this. Why? Because they had the knowledge that there is something like this exists in the market. Suppose you are PR, in the profession of PR, and you don't even update your knowledge of what is happening in media. You don't update your knowledge about your public. कि आपका audience हो सकता है पहले slums में रहता हो, अब धीरे धीरे the audience thing has changed and they've reached into something better. So remember one thing, that in public relations, all these four factors go line in line, and not only that the four factors go line in line, you have to update them. A PR man never sleeps. They say PR job is a 24 hours job. You have to be all the time trying to find out what is happening, what is new. And for all this, you read, you observe, you interact, you socialize, you travel, you do anything and everything. You can even learn from a small child. But school में क्या होता है, टीचर कैसे पढ़ाती हैं, क्या क्यों होता है. So everything, PR is the person who is a lighthouse of knowledge. And unless he becomes one, this profession does not carry weight at all. You can't be just well dressed, smartly dressed, and think that misnomer today is that a smart looking child or a smart looking girl or a boy who can gather a lot of attention is a good PR. No, he is a good attractor. The moment he opens his mouth and interacts, he will not be able to convey. So please remember, PR is a professional science. It is no more just a showbiz, which people take it to be. It's a knowledgeable profession and a very hard profession. It's a hardcore profession, a management function in which you should know your facts, you should know your public, you should know how to put your facts and public together with the help of medium and then get a feedback. What exactly does your public understand? Have they understood you 2%, 5%, 10%, 100%? And then go on sending your message again and again, again and again. This is how the PR goes. So friends, PR is something which is a hardcore function in which you need knowledge both in reading, observing and interacting. That's how we say PR is a tough profession. It's not an easy-going profession, a part of management function. It has been recognized. It has a lot of scope in this country. In any developing country, you'll find PR developing with the growth of the country. And it goes on developing so long as the growth goes. So world over, yes, it is a recognized function. But in our country or in developing countries, it is being recognized. And the day is not far off when PR will be much demanded profession.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so very much for giving us a very, very productive session. Dear friends, we talked on PR as a skill and we had an interaction right now, that is how PR is becoming important in present scenario. Dear friends, I would like to ask certain questions from ma'am, as we always have interactions which helps us in bringing out something productive. Ma'am, we have talked about PR as a whole. We talked about different publics as well as how media plays a crucial role in public relations. So could we say that observation, participation and communication, these are the three elements, or it could be the three elements by defining?
Any person has to develop these elements before he thinks of joining a profession in PR. Because unless you are a good observer, unless you are a good communicator, you may observe things but you must tell them also. Again, you remember one thing, that in PR, it's not only performance, but performance recognition which is very important. If you're performing something, then somebody should be able to promote that performance and tell people, like you are a company. Then if I'm your PR, I should know all about you and I should be able to project you the way you want to be projected. Suppose you want to get projected as a social person, then I should know what are the qualities, know all facts about you, then project you. So PR is not only observing and finding information, but you should be a good communicator, a media person to project it also.
Projection is very, very important, as Mrs. Nirmal Bhatnagar herself said. Ma'am, sometimes we used a term grapevine while we are talking about communication. So, does actually grapevine can be used as a matter of fact? I mean, could be, well, sometimes grapevine, the term which we use, communication sometimes is manipulated. Sometimes it is right, sometimes it is not right.
Actually, grapevine is a methodology which is very, very clever methodology of getting feedback. Suppose I want to increase the prices of petrol as a government. I will purposefully leak the information. Nobody knows the source of grapevine. Grapevine is compared to a grape bale, जिसे कहते हैं ना अंगूर की बेल की तरह, कि उसका सिरा नहीं मिलता है. We can't find the source कि कहाँ से निकली है. It's something like that I leave a file open here, in which I said, I've done it purposely, but you don't know that I've done it purposely, and I leave it here. And it goes to you and you say, oh God, petrol prices are increasing by 5 rupees. And you sit very confidently, tell to one person, the other person, third person. It becomes a matter of charcha all over. Gradually the thing develops. And I'm all the time watching. Okay, how much? Some people say, हम तो strike कर देंगे, हम तो यूं कर देंगे, यूं हो जाएगा. Now it's a grapevine. I have done it purposely. So grapevine is a positive thing. We don't take it negative. Whereas rumor we take as negative. So grapevine is a part of gathering information or getting feedback before we implement something. Like Ganesh ji doodh pee rahe hain is a rumor. Went on and on and on and on and on. Nobody knew the source, again like grapevine, but it was a negative side. So we call it a rumor. Whereas grapevine is something which we do ourselves purposefully for gathering feedback, opinions.
This is how we could make the positive use of the news. But when sometimes the news is manipulated or is taken in a negative sense, then it automatically becomes propaganda.
Yes, it becomes propaganda. So third thing in here is propaganda. When something goes beyond belief, it's called propaganda. Publicity is a very good thing. Advertising is an excellent thing to make people aware of a product or something that is happening. But when publicity crosses the level of belief, it's called propaganda. When we say हो ही नहीं सकता, ये कर देंगे हम, वो कर देंगे, जैसे आप देख रहे हैं the fair and lovely creams, much advertised creams. They said यूं हो जाएगा, शादी हो जाएगी, आपको जॉब मिल जाएगी. It's called you are leaving the publicity to a level where you have made it into a propaganda. Propaganda is again a negative thing. Publicity is something which is on the positive side. So these are PR terminology we use. Like I'll give you another terminology, liaison and lobby. Liaison is something I don't care about, means मुझे ये काम कराना है by hook or by crook. चाहे झूठ बोलूंगी, चाहे कुछ भी करूंगी, मुझे कराना ही है, करके लाके देना है. It's one time job. People don't believe you again on your falsehood. Whereas lobby is when I place more and more facts to you. कि देखिए ये करने से ये भी होगा, आपने ये बात तो नहीं, ये fact भी है इसका. I place more and more facts before you so that you can take a decision which is the right decision. That is called lobbying. Lobbying is a positive thing, whereas what you call liasoning is something which we take in the negative terminology, though it's very often used. And somehow in this country, PR is considered to be liasoning. You appoint a PR person, you tell him, अरे अगर तुम last minute टिकट ही नहीं ला सके एयरलाइंस का, तो क्या तुम्हारा PR है? कुछ नहीं. You know, we condemn people. PR is not liaison. It is time that people understood, and that is why this study of PR is now gradually being introduced into management studies, into colleges, into schools. Surprisingly, I'm very pained to say this, that as a professional, there is no professional course available on PR. You can't have MA in public relations or something like that. Gradually, some of the universities are thinking about it. But I feel this should cover right from the beginning into children in a different form, high school different form, and into colleges in a different form to make better society, better interactive people.
With this note, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so very much for giving us a very interactive session where we try to understand about PR and learn different terminologies. Dear friends, we will be meeting again very soon. Till then, take care. Goodbye. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so very much.